Small foreign countries to defense, naval armaments make much lower advances. A few leaders talk about the arms race in terms of Europe. They noted that Europe has a compensating institutional agreements that draw nations together, increasing economic dependence on Asia. Reshaping competition, they facilitate cooperative regional navies. Chinese A2AD is inevitable. US can adapt means no impact on 12. Increasing difficulty in defense or results in technology products, sustainable military spending, geographic distance is not possible. The US who wants to spend US is only become rely on distant multiple capabilities for operating. Traveling kind of a little strike range to speed that Pacific ship on the charge is undeniable charge based on punishment. The midterms here, we're not going to go for it. Will explicitly concede their Asia war. In fact, defense takes out their entire China advantage. ILAW, it literally says ILAW interdependence solves escalation of scenarios like A2AD. That the F7 card from the treaties, you don't let them go back on that. And there's also no impact of the DA, no link, so there's no offense here. Now the treaties. U.S. abrogation of the single convention obligations throughout the entire treaty system overall sets the precedent of select application of international legal principles on enables treaty obligations to be sidestepped via domestic law, unravels the foundations of U.S. ILAW compliance, and causes treaty abrogation of a variety of other subject areas that have nothing to do with drug journals. It's Bueller, Taylor, and Toplo. Effective ILAW is key to global coordination, provision of public goods across the host of impact areas that all access extinction, global, great power, public proliferation, climate, etc. are conceded. Independent wars to shape for evidence compliance mechanisms are preheating and require strong adherence for states to have confidence in the system that this set contains in terms of all of their impact. A great power conflict is only possible when international legal compliance is breaking down favoring 14 all states. Really requires such behavior around legal normalization of the ILAW, obligations of several times are wars that possible less several combined states for critical behavior, on the rights of the planning exchange, compliance to adhere to that triggers great power nuclear war. Absent the plan happens, we will become crucial. It's not like committed to parts participation action as a local country being powerless relationship to rights to be all for me. This change the world-based order, carbon security, competition, assassination, another crew, missile rights, corporate security policy decline, risk major competition by great powers increases is a reflection of the role of treaty community cohesion. See, it's reverse causal. Effective international treaty system maintains global stability, solves all of their impacts. No, that their global stability depends on checks and balances power called ILAW to treaties. The organization that guarantees stability, shipping US power, making more violent instead of violent. Adapting treaties that make the country less violent. Time frame comes first. This set is step based on countries doubting U.S. leadership in the context of treaty compliance based on the failure there, which causes violence to escalate all over the globe. While their after impacts are inherently long-term, i.e. cartels are causing violence now, but doesn't cause oil shocks, and A2AD capabilities are far away. The line by line proper. The 280 counterfeit solves their state legalization argument in U.S. federal, not state compliance with single compliance is what matters. Haas and 12 state laws do not technically violate the treaties. The federal bill is another matter of enacting the law. Most certainly place the U.S. in violation. The U.S. doesn't target, but the U.S. loses control of international participation facing legal laws. Laws translate other areas foreign policy who would be the bride, and the U.S. controls international in the international system as a whole. The other countries' warrant doesn't make any sense. The U.S. is key. That's crucial. That's what our internal link is about. U.S. ILAW compliance. So Bolivia, Uruguay is useless. Their 280 card literally says nothing. And every move in the international sphere is decriminalization. They avoid treaty briefs. Bueller, Taylor, 14 some countries formalize treaties on enforcement of establishment for rights, deportation, district access, cultivation, personal use, policy, practice, interpreted, respect, province, treaty, was all legal rights, reputation, policy, economic cost of treaty briefs are likely to turmoil states moving on soft affection. The U.S. also backlashed against Uruguay, which proves our credibility is high on this issue. Only the plan can break that. And no enforcement argument after that. That's a negative argument. Countries rely on U.S. statements and policy to figure out the UN drug control treaty because enforcement is kind of weak. Proves the Act's non-compliance wrecks the treaty since it relies solely on things like credibility, and the Act is hypocrisy in the shape of that. Their card also is a net card. It says that enforcement isn't super strong, not that it doesn't exist, so it doesn't draw a strong conclusion they want it to. The plan does violate the treaty. To answer their next argument, legalization collapses it because it allows the treaty only allows decriminalization. Their evidence is terrible because it only cites countries like the Netherlands, which only decriminalize, not legalize. Bueller, Taylor cites facts from the treaty to affirm the global drug control regime contains flexibility that can accommodate their uniqueness arguments, but outright legalization of the U.S. is a bridge too far that shatters it. Bueller, Taylor, 14. Decrease comfortably within the UN drug convention, although conventional leave road from numerous limits latitude or clearly established defined authorities do not create a legally regulated market. The conventions create red authorities for creating a legal market for cannabis. Treaty articles are based in terms by cannabis former advocates. The purpose of conventions lowest product prohibition exclusively of medical lines and purpose legal cannabis for recreational purposes cannot be justified within the limits of latitude of the UN drug control treaty regime. The ILAW cred low argument there, that card is atrocious. It just says the Senate cannot pass new treaties now. Irrelevant for the current treaties what our impact is about, and it's far worse to violate a treaty which you've already agreed to than to not ratify one in the first place. It means our link vastly outweighs Toplo 13 ILAW. Affords the state option with country treaties with adaptability complies the state makes most applications amendments or reservations. Sometimes it's wise course is to delay joining, but in the interest of international credibility of the state, what it should not do is join the treaty, accept legal obligations, demand other countries extend the promised benefits, and then undeniably flout its responsibilities. And Obama's approach to international law is solidified U.S. standing in drug control. These their general uniqueness arguments, Bueller, Taylor, Thomas, Sarko, of the ILAW just played by Bush, the same for multilateralism, generate atmosphere, which the former state failed to defend, discard drug control treaty. the USA was still a best place to his drill system and defense loss effects, justification would be able to say when defending justify accidentally to have to generally likelihood of significant is regarding framework control address always seems something election of Obama reviews result in engagement in UN responsibility some of the rebuild British organization Obama has attempted to reverse policies of the predecessors. The plan does spill over. Coppola is way better than their last analytic. The U.S. has been a staunch supporter of prohibition. Now the plan reverses that, what causes doubt as the plan above. Non-compliance to the Seal Convention undermines all U.S. international drug control. Cap 13, unless a federal government ensures compliance with treaties, the president cannot directly conduct foreign policy, nor is it support for less more effort than the effect of drug trade stopping, nor Congress the most important foreign policy priorities, particularly important marijuana federal measure. They serve central back of the U.S. on non-compliance with the leaders or the U.S. support the U.S. would have will-based complaint about country fails to have that's key to Afghan instability and counter narcotics. Brownfield 14, we are building Afghan capacity, counter Afghan dystopia, freedom, corruption, and starting with encourage process counter narcotics, Afghan counter to increase effectiveness, Afghan drug counts may be not moving insurmountable, marked insurmountable nuclear war, Cronin 13 with the U.S. withdrawal and that change on the way questions U.S. head behind the U.S. draws on building energy, is on the idea of front conditions without dangerous readers that result in nuclear war. 907. You got that?
the advantage counterclaim, and the trading general. Now that we're concede that the status of concede that marijuana is not sufficient, there's no impact of Mexican violence, but we're going to go for hegemony impact because we read internally to hegemony on the other advantage are this and because capability outweighs credibility because even if the energy, if it's true that if you have an energy, sufficient energy credibility in essential, that resolves all the credibility question doesn't resolve the question of the military efficacy resulting from cyber terrorism, which may be still excellent hegemony and hegemony for global complex security development. They never resolve it because we will certain things like deterrence and the free trade democratization, which will resolve the terminally resolve all the treaties impact because there wouldn't be any kind of grave part conflict because we solve that through U.S. leadership prefer our theory of evidence which decides that you have also conceded that other countries don't have the capability to sustain global conflict, which may cause a transnational conflict. Yes, U.S. lash of the constraint. Love the argument of the best of the British system of the civil war, the parent argument of the allies of the of the other, but as an enabling a nation of the optimal options, which is whether that was the truth of the dominant ones of the allies of the independent. McDonald doesn't ever change from the orderly that vacuum will be filled as non-part now. The advantage first of your productivity argument takes out the proof that solvency deficit of counterclaim because you let anyone to come into the FBI, which means all of their argument applies more to the counterclaim, not the affirmative, but no impact to productivity. John, plan doesn't mean productivity. Armature element is looking around the just some knowledge of the disinformation of the just presumptive and driving that from the experiment that do not driving the real situation. All of your evidence about the cyber war are evident read evidence and cyber espionage wipes out U.S. weapon system because other countries learn by the U.S. system, which means they're going to able to dip in a military advantage, which means that destroys U.S. military credibility, hegemony, our evidence as a Pentagon for which is the framing issue. Our evidence also decides the consensus of FBI, NSA, every other people indicates that we have the cyber war, and terrorism is inevitable. You should prefer consensus and the recent evidence threat is high in the center status quo. Obviously, those are the because we restrict people from people from applying using the provision internally. We're not going to go for Asia. Argument will give a conceit to double the argument. Our rights evidence and something in double B is the critical to every other country because it increases deterrence capability. Even if other countries like we can still intercept those missiles. There's not going to be any escalation of conflict. And next, unit counter permutation duo doesn't solve the FBI advantage because it doesn't resolve the question. Also, but the counterplane sends a signal that U.S. is wishy-washy on the trade issue, which means it still doesn't resolve the certainty now. The FDA counterplane permutation duo doesn't solve the FDA advantage. Our evidence indicates even if you remove the drug test, doesn't resolve the question. The drug-free workforce that doesn't guarantee employment. What? Or the government to enforce criminal unless you remember the relevant and fair place and then cover the use of the labor will not suitable. But if you're even our position does not cover the containment of its office, we have the adverse of whether you or you're suitable for the federal employment object. It's a good mission. You don't have a solvency ethic, which is the key. The framing should magnify all of the abuse argument because there's no literature that discusses the counterplane, which means we can debate the answer which justifies the sketch of permutation like permutation to the counterplane. We'll also prefer the permutation to the counterplane. Thus, we also conceded the no enforcement argument. The coin evidence indicates the counterplane only allowed for the exemption in the area, which means well because the government law indicates that every agency must have the same law, which means the greatest role ever evidence indicates undermines the national security. Our Neil evidence indicates you kill FBI as a political capital because everyone in Congress does not like FBI changing the law which guarantees budget. But even if they the 3,000 worker doesn't resolve the question of the other budget in Operation Miller evidence indicates that's sufficient take out the FBI operation now. The treaty is a key framing issue that they have the pieces of theoretical evidence indicates treaty because doesn't have the single piece of evidence that indicates that the treaty is enforced, which means you don't access all of our intent. Our evidence indicates people don't follow international law. Our specifically our evidence indicates the Senate is not. If the Senate is not willing to pass other treaty, obviously they're not going to come aboard with the current treaty, which means that is send a signal to the other country we're not enforcing treaty, which means that it doesn't solve the. Even if there's a collapse of the international law, the U.S. hegemony is sufficiently solved, which means treaty is not keeping its military deterrence capability. Means other countries will never lash out, will never lash out. There's no internally to collapse the entire treaty. Also, the time frame for it to collapse the entire treaty system, which is really long, which means you should default to short-term. The other countries that are evidence because the Latin American countries like Uruguay are already legalizing it. That proves that the U.S. leadership fails because if the U.S. has been pushing for the prohibition, the other countries didn't listen to it. It proved that other countries are doing the necessary follow. U.S. leadership here proves that there's no enforcement. Our evidence is this with drug testing.
I will link to secret between Colorado and Washington and full state.
But
Colorado, Washington, thumb. There's no link.
Colorado and Washington already got the counterplan only increases the federal prosecution doesn't resolve the question. State already legalizing now, which that's the signal of the nod. Which we're not coming to. There's no slow to regime clause kidding. What this means in the future of global governance and the world was part of the is like only ready from the international and not much of the US and not including the LLC. It recognizes the customer level there are plenty of international women that are reached with the using treaty of the provision board. From the second division, Obama's new comment which we can hope for other treaties for kidding. For the Senate declined to ratify the Convention of Rights and the Disability reject the law, obviously also other treaties will not ratify the additional the declared additional on the Convention. The rest of the country will from the President to see the local treaty the torpedo. The Convention isolation for the large cases of doping and changing the condition make legalization legitimate. The other state would opt out anyway. This bill is killer. The reason of the table institute of implement for the legalization of the international law that also we cannot really see the binding on the fundamental change. Circumstances for dramatic from the draw from the document could be completely like you should also there's no way that other countries will stop cooperating on issues like proliferation or other things just because we signed a drug treaty which there.
Afghanistan.
Okay, no impact to Afghanistan settlement. And now dominated reports of rivers of the political rather than other regional because of the hell of outcome of the likely from the general education some of the future models like perform plus decision maker regional do not report national interest multiple obstacles to Afghan instability July and there's Afghan instability determined by the bills and state capital effective on the corruption between international capability institution capable Afghan government and the corruption domain the greatest and the impact of the long-term stability freedom of the facility playing operation that all proves that hegemony can solve for every single one of your scenario because it facilitates the leadership and deterrence capability means other countries come on board now.
Was the impact you were saying on the bottom of the FBI, was that just explaining the internal link to Edge?
No,
And there's the missile defense internal link to HUAD independently says it solves WP conflict as deterrence.
Yeah, whatever she is.
I can try to do something.
Yeah.
Face to face. More most important.
Yeah. is the uniqueness counterplan, the advantage counterplan, the DA, the cartel's advantage, and then the FBI advantage. Yep. Uniqueness counterplan, advantage counterplan, DA, cartel. Nice. Cool. Okay. Everybody good? Or- Good.
Let me switch to this, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
The uniqueness counterplan permutation to separate mechanisms of link is that the counterplan maintains the CSA prohibition of marijuana, which means that the separate footage ejects on like the ground, also can solve the link to the DA. They didn't explain in the one area you should not allow the 2AR to do so. If they win the permutation solves the link, you should take force, but the plan unilaterally abrogates treaty. The permutation doesn't resolve that. They say the counterplan sends a signal to wishy-washy when you talk about a crackdown on marijuana growers and distributors, but that doesn't link to the other counterplan because they wouldn't know after small-scale people like individual FBI people, and they wouldn't know how those employees were smoking absent drug tests. So, but it is sufficient to stop the motive for distribution, etc. If it's that would cause the states to repeal the laws, they have not contested that claim. Now the other counterplan. Permutation to links to the evidence still has the United States unilaterally abrogate the treaty. They said and solve the FBI. It absolutely solves. We'll see the card on the case. They read the sense of the impact productivity between that whole thing and the estimation. The truancy was basically a waste of time. They're only internal links that the FBI is going to tell not hire stoners. They can't get sort of drug testing and let stoners know about it, which means that they will be able to come to the FBI. There's not a coherent solve steps that articulated in the 1R. If you can't draw a line from the 1AR to the 2AR warrant not only claim, then you should reject the argument. I'm not ambitious to the 2ARs are the hardest speech in debate, which means you should hire highly negative. They say that we don't have a solvency after this is a new theory argument, which they should have made in the Tracy, but all the arguments have made in the Tracy, the answer object fiat apply. The advantage is not intrinsic that you. This means that you should not coddle the affirmative, otherwise it pops a bad ass that will lose in the market of ideas. The counterplan is opportunity cost to the affirmative, which means that they cause bad advocates who can't defend their ideas against all angles. Also, to negative critical to innovation. If I can come up with the counterplan in 2 seconds to solve the entire case, you should probably write a better case to write intrinsic advantage and critical to negative flexibility on a topic where the literature is overwhelmingly biased or chain. No, that was fundamentally indefensible. Also, they went arguments reason to carbon not the team. They say justifies the permutation to the counterplan notes that independently of voting, you should take the argument I made in the block on conditionality. They knew after bad it kills negative engagement, and they could have disclosed it, which solves all of their offense creates an incentive to search minor parts of the literature, but kills clash and substantive debate, which is ultimately the impact to debate. They say Cohen's all agencies must be the same. The counterplan gets rid of drug testing along for all federal employees, which means that it's uniform across the agencies, even if they have this argument is irrelevant because they're functionally fiats. The FBI stop drug testing. They say it kills the FBI's political capital, etc. I explain this in the block. There's no impact to this because the budget has already been stated in Congress. Also, there are warnings evidence indicates that Congress has already boosted the FBI's personnel by 2,000 people, which means the Congress is interested in national security. They wouldn't get petty about the FBI legalizing marijuana. It literally doesn't make any sense, and they don't have any reverse possible evidence because the budget has already been allocated, which is pretty important. Now, the DA. At the top, impact calculus conceded a subpoint multiple extinction risk or double absent effective international law system argument indicates that military capability is not sufficient to solve, which is their only internal link to a Germany, which means our impact stable containers not feel aware and reference indicates diseases, environmental pumps, etc. Multiple pumps require multilateral solution to this code effective international law system is necessary to combat that. These points, so it solves all war. They conceded that creates interdependence and trust, etc. among countries, which creates that solves the motive for it. It's reverse causal or ruler argument indicates a class with class mass word. It means our allies lose trust in us and bulge our adversaries, which turns all the Germany arguments they can't win. Then Germany turns the case because legitimacy is a prerequisite. Germany backlashing their background proves, and also none of our internal links about military capabilities, about their all effective cooperation in the international system part of ILO, which means they can't win that their impact solves the case. Now the Afghanistan impact, they did not contest the internal link. I'm only going to answer the impact defense. They read the United States able to effectively pressure Afghanistan and decided to go to force them to do counter-narcotics reform because we are not abrogating the treaty, but in the world of the plan that effective pressure would seek our RSCs arguments to get that would cause Afghanistan collapse. Their impact evidence, their impact defense evidence just says that the domino theory is not correct. Our impact evidence is about resource grab by Russia and China going into Afghanistan. It's not about the domino theory, which means their impact evidence fundamentally doesn't apply. 2014 is Harrison 2014 evidence, 2014 Afghanistan, especially important issues will come to Iraq's armed conflict, Afghanistan, extremely important geopolitical asset countries, central Asia, government agent